Blasio released a video officially announcing that he is throwing his hat in the ring, joining the very crowded Democratic race for president. Shortly after 8 a.m., he will talk about it to a live national television audience. Well, the mayor certainly has his work cut out for him, with 23 other candidates vying for the Democratic nomination, and he only has about a month to make his case. The Democratic debates will be taking place in Miami in late June. Will the mayor meet the requirements to be invited to those debates, where so many really start their arguments? Here with some insight, Basil Smikle, the former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party. So good morning to you.
Morning.
Happy to have you here to talk about this breaking news this morning. You know, in a recent poll back on April 23rd, 76% of New Yorkers said do not run for president. What do you make of that as he throws his hat in the ring?
Not a great endorsement, actually. Those poll numbers are important because, as you said in the tease to this, there is a threshold that he has to make. First, in donations, he's got to get 65,000 donations from donors across 20 states.
That's a high threshold.
A very high threshold. There are thoughts that even someone like Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is having trouble getting to that place, let alone the mayor of New York coming in at number 23 among our candidates. And then if there's some challenge with or problem with whittling down that number of candidates based on donations, then you go to the poll numbers. And if he can't break 1% in a field of 23 candidates, then he doesn't get on the stage. And that's very embarrassing for him and for New York.
As we continue this conversation, let's just show these live pictures right here that are coming in from Air 11 right now as Mayor de Blasio heads in his SUV, leaving Gracie Mansion on the Upper East Side to Times Square, where he will be talking to that national audience this morning. As we look at these images, Basil, does entering the race this late affect his chances at what you're talking about, reaching those donors, getting that 1% to make those debates where he can really make his case?
It's going to be really hard because, first of all, he needs a narrative that differentiates himself from these other candidates. It's going to be hard to really make that. Do you come in as a progressive? Well, that's a lane that Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders have already are occupying. You come in as a moderate. Well, Joe Biden's occupying that space. So is Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker from the neighboring state of New Jersey.
So what do you see as his platform?
I don't know, quite frankly. I've been doing this for 20-some odd years, and I'm trying to scratch my head and figure out what platform does he campaign on. It's possible that he can come in and say, look, I've run a city of New York, greatest city in the country. I can translate this to the rest of America, what I've done here. That's really hard. And in fact, being mayor is a dead-end job. A mayor from this city hasn't ascended to higher office since 1869.
What would be the highlight of his mayoral time here in New York City? He has some troubles with NYCHA. He's had some trouble with homelessness. Would it be universal pre-K, health care? I
think universal pre-K and health care are certainly things that he can run on. And that's very, very important. But again, how do you translate that to the rest of the nation?
Right.
Especially if some of those things may not necessarily translate even to upstate New York. And so he's gonna try and run on this being this progressive mayor. But again, I don't really understand or really know how that's different from so many of the other candidates that are in this race.
It's going to be very interesting. I think we'll be talking to you a lot in the coming weeks and months, Basil. Always good to have you here. Thank